The Deputy Party Leader of the Jubilee Party is Jeremiah Kioni. He's here with us this morning. Good morning.
Morning, my apologies. Kioni, traffic police officer should say Paul for driving us on the roads.
What have they done?
The roads, there is a junction. You cannot come to town from Thika side if you have an early morning engagement. You do 20 kilometers of jam. That's all the way beyond Kenyatta University. And I think all that is because of a junction that is up Forest Road, Pagani, Moranga Road. That junction, I don't know how much it costed to do the other one at Gong Road. But it doesn't matter. It should be done.
Should be done.
Should be done. And the expressway also done quickly. before the highway, before the housing.
Well, you're most gracious to apologize, but we are still.
But I am sorry for coming in late.
Thank you for doing that, and thank you for being here this morning. And that you have already put out a development agenda here.
Yes.
And that your apology has come as a result of certain things having not been done. And so we're asking, it's good because you've walked into this the conversation when we were just saying, okay, well, what then needs to happen in terms of united opposition? But quickly, before we do that, Dennis wants to tell us about a lizard.
Yes.
A lizard?
Yeah. There's this lizard that comes from Liberia, and it says that, this is what the lizard said, the lizard that jumps from a high tree praises itself if no one does.
If it jumps from a high tree,
it will praise itself if no one else praises it.
Well, that's a difficult one. But it's always important to don't look for approval from people. Do what you want to do and what you think needs to be done. If you sit around and wait for approval, you become guilty of approval addiction. Yeah, so place yourself when you can. There might be people might not be there to tell you you've done well.
Yes. Well said, well interpreted.
Kama sasa nilipigania Jubilee, hakuna mtu ananiambia nilifanya kazi ya maana.
Unajipigia makofi.
It's interesting. You did your job.
Wengi ni wale wanajaribu kukubomoa.
But then you've also been rather firm in the last time we spoke, and we also raised this issue then, where you said that you need to essentially, as the party and the united opposition, get your act together. Otherwise, you'd be dealing with a loss. You were very clear about that. What did you mean, Jeremiah?
That united opposition was a good unit to mobilize.
You say was, as though it's in the past.
And it is, yes, it's almost in the past. Because it's not a question of mobilizing now for ladies. It is now organizing to take over power. And I've maintained, and I want to say it again, that a political party is the only unit allowed in our statutes. And even by our constitution, to organize to take over power.
Okay.
A coalition brings people together, but you organize yourself within a party. I said then and I want to say now, there is no structure that united opposition has to deliver a presidency. But parties do have structures. If you go to Mombasa and ask who is the official for united opposition here who is helping organize the presidential campaign, there, zero. But if you go and ask for a Jubilee party official is organizing party affairs within Mombasa, you'll get they are there. So we cannot rely on the united opposition to organize for a presidential campaign. It will have to be done by a political party. And I want to say it again. It is that was I was clear. It was very clear to me from the beginning that we needed to organize our party Jubilee to ensure that we have a good presidential candidate.
Yeah.
Then you can go to the table and talk with others and to others on the issues. And I have said before, I'm yet to see anybody who can beat Matiang'i on this ticket. I like what I saw Justin Muturi do yesterday. He named his preferred presidential candidate, and that as it should be. And you can tell that from what he said and what Gachagua had said a day before, there is no meeting of mind. Gachagua had said, don't name a candidate until it was the tail end. He will be attacked by the system of the day. Muturi went ahead and named one immediately when he had a mic next to him. And he did a good thing. When I did mention last week that my preferred presidential candidate is Matiang'i, I was inviting people to do that likewise. Because a party without a presidential candidate, wacha tuseme sana ukweli hapa. A party without a presidential candidate, organizing becomes a very difficult thing.
Yeah.
And almost all the other parties at the table are presidential candidates other than DCP, kwa sababu tusipoanza kuambia Wakenya ukweli tutaanza kuwasubua. DCP will have difficulties fielding a presidential candidate, given that they still have issues to sort within the court corridors. And time is also not on their side if they are going to do that. So there is the fear that if we now continue naming candidates, perhaps those in DCP may run away from the party and go to parties that have strong presidential candidates. But that aside, I think it's important to Abia wa Kenya. You saw what happened yesterday when Muturi mentioned Karonzo. The church there are those who supported and there are those who did not support. Yeah. So what I've been saying is true. Kenyans have their presidential candidate kwa kichwa. Hapa ni PE wanatupigisha hapa. Ati tupatieni mtu moja, tupatieni mtu. The day you don't name the person they want as a presidential candidate, ndio utajua wa Kenya ni akina nani. And they already have their preferred one. And the way out for us as united opposition, it's go out and sell your own presidential candidate. Let Kenyans finally decide who their presidential candidate is, because they want a person who majority can rally behind and remove William Ruto. And removing William Ruto is not a crime. It's part of our system. It's a part of our constitutional process.
So
5 years,
you're saying,
every
Jeremiah,
5 years.
There's no need for this united opposition business?
No, for where we are going, they can continue talking about united opposition and to meet once in a while in a church or any other function they rally. But where we are today is any party that does not go out and campaign for their own presidential candidate are wasting their time. And this is actually why some of us went different ways, even within Jubilee Party. Because within Jubilee Party, there are those who are slowing me down. Don't move. And the fact that we did not move when we needed to move certainly costed us time and advantages that we had. If we didn't slow down, Matiang'i will be head and shoulder above all these other candidates. But I believe that we are going to do that in the coming couple of months.
Jeremiah,
weeks.
they say politics is local. And by local means, it's Mwananchi who will tell you how the situation is.
I agree.
Where we sit today then, because you've given an example of what happened in church, where there are those who supported, those who said no. That means Mwananchi know exactly who it is they want. Is that feeling a reality within the united opposition, that they know what the ground is saying? Even with all the delay tactics, it is clear on who Mwananchi want, and they're just waiting for that to be said?
I hope there is none of them in that leadership who is not that clear. There has been a desire to delay things so that we have no time. You know, if we start talking like it happened to us 2022, we didn't have a candidate in Azimio until in the month of April. And that costed us time. We spent the whole of January, actually December, because we were trying to have an NDC as Jubilee. But October, November, December, January, February, March, April, 7 months. President Uhuru was still calling people, come together, agree on who can be the flag bearer. 7 months. We don't have that track at this time. We must let Kenyans start seeing these people and make up their minds. Those who have not made up their minds, and they need to make up their minds now. And if we don't do that, we had 8 million people who did not vote trust election. It will be more than 10 million this time around. We will have serious apathy. And I can tell you, when you say it is local, that is why now, if you want to get me, utanipata pari naitwa Daragwa Command Center. And you don't have a KTN reporter in Daragwa. Tumeni moja. That's where news will be coming from going forward. We have a command center there, Jubilee Command, where we are now Kenyans there. Wale ambao wana support Matiang'i, wanakuja hapo from the whole of that region. We go there, say our presidential candidate is Matiang'i, and we go out as his agents bila kulipwa, na tunajituma kwa sababu we believe that the 2.6 million Kenyans who stand up to vote for Raila never gravitated elsewhere. They are still stuck there. And there is another whole chunk that was in government, UDA government, that has come out and are also looking for a person who can remove William and his system and put in another one. And they all are. I was yesterday in a place called Gakoigo. Najua hujasikia dunia jina kama lakini Gakoigo is in Kagema constituency. I was in a church there, Morogoro, where we were doing campaign for one of the MCAs, and I believe that MCA will win on a Jubilee ticket. And even other DC people came. And they were saying, sitaki tufai Nyekuru tutanyongwa, lakini hapa ndio tuko. Because it's very difficult for people to continue being in a situation of uncertainty. And when we were there, I wish there was time to see what some of the young people, and were saying PP 10, something like that, PP 10, grade 10, I think is what you're saying. They were the ones who were doing a skit on Matiang'i. And they did a whole, including presenting, they came in as radio presenters, TV presenters, and they were all about what Matiang'i can do, and they were doing it on the floor. Nothing has before. And you could tell that the new Matiang'i is everywhere across the country. And like I said, my work between now and the time that comes is to campaign for him. Na sasa hakuna, before nilikuwa nikikampenia yeye, wengine wananiita mall. And it was wananiita red wheelbarrow. It was nothing else. It was just trying to slow me down, because there was that fear of having a strong person. We need a person who can change this country day one, not after 100 days, day one. I mean, we can't continue having people being shot left and center. The guy was killed here in Mathare. Look at what happened in Kisii. And it is a question of order and firmness. Hapo beleni watu walikuwa wanasema Matiang'i ni firm, ni mgumu, ni nini. That's the kind of person we want in the country. A no-nonsense person. We are playing games. Why would we, like now I'm talking about the road, I have apologized for coming in late. But when I got to that roundabout, hapo junction, ya Pagani, that Pagani, some 2 police officers are there starting casually, anafanya mkono namna hii tu na wanapiga story hapa. That time the jam is 30 kilometers long, na anafanya kama mkono moja hapa wakikula story hapa na mama, a policewoman and a policeman. I mean, you look at them and say, we really need order in this country.
And so what you're saying is
how much money are we consuming with petrol hapa? So we actually need a manager, a person who can call order to this country.
What you're saying,
how would
Jeremiah,
you allow goons to run us? And I want to say this,
Jeremiah,
any party, whether in the opposition or in government, that has entertained goons should not be anywhere near power.
So what
because
you're saying,
both within the opposition and within government, goonism is there.
It is, and it's very clear. It's
a very dangerous thing.
And it's not just in political rallies. Yeah. It's people having, again, that we've mentioned, this is with the 3rd hour that we've done this morning. It is in having a cup of tea. It is in going about your business on a Friday morning on a busy highway. And this is happening in full glare of, everybody and everything.
Along the road, there was a vehicle stored. A Mercedes, small Mercedes, nice Mercedes. And I was telling my driver, I sympathize with that owner. Because the guys who allowed that man and a lady saying,
and they had nothing to do. But the question is, you seem to be saying, Bwana Kioni, that the person who is going to fix all of this is Dr. Fred Matiang'i, number one, and that number two, you don't want to be busying yourself as Jubilee Party in deciding whether it's Dennis Aseto today, Kalonzo Musyoka tomorrow, whether Justin Unduoko tomorrow. You don't want to busy yourself in all of that.
I am not sitting
what
that
you are
boardroom.
saying is that let's go with Matiang'i as Jubilee and let's move.
I am not sitting in that boardroom. Let Kenyans decide. Let's go and present Matiang'i. Muturi will present Kalonzo. Rigiji is presenting. He's only not telling the truth. He's been presenting Kalonzo all through. He was in Daragwa in my own constituency with that whole team of United Opposition. And when I knew this, we are playing games with Kenyans, is when I am there, a leader in the opposition. Nilifaa sufuria Rigiji akiwa ndani ya serikali. We are the ones who have removed them from Ruto they have come and joined us, and they joined us, and they have no respect for those of us who are doing we were in the trenches. My good friend Karonzo is also in this team. He cannot remember a person who was in maandamano na yeye aseme huyu tumekuwa na yeye wacha aongee. When I saw that, I knew these guys people are playing games with Kenyans. That is actually when I concluded this thing. If we do not organize ourselves as a party, eventually Kenyans will be shocked by the fact that there isn't quite some order within that unit.
So is there,
and I'm saying this
within the united opposition?
I am not, I don't sit in the boardroom, and I will invite you to invite them, look for who heads their secretariat, where is the secretariat, where are the members of staff, and those kind of things. Then you can start seeing why it is important for every political party that has a presidential card to go out there. And then when the time is necessary, with the Kenyans themselves watasema, like in that church yesterday, because, the church was turned into a theater where, I don't know where, I think we also do it in this country where we say, when we have people competing on a stage, mambo ya kucheza dance, nani amecheza dance vizuri? As many as of who like this wanapiga duru, wengine wanapiga duru, wengine wanapiga duru, na wale mwenye atapata duru mingi ndio popular.
Yes.
Yesterday,
you do it in parliament as well.
Now, yes, even in thank you so much. It is the how of that opinion. That's where we are. And yesterday it happened in that place. It was, I'm sure Muturi left knowing that perhaps his candidate was not as popular as Matiang'i was in that church. This is the thing that must be done across so that we can get out of this. Lakini tusikae chini kuambia Wakenya watu watakaa kwa boardroom watoe mtu moja. And again, it's also not it's not useful to think that UDA can remove UDA. And I say no more.
What do you mean?
What I'm saying is that now we have that command center in Daragwa, where we will be receiving all people from all walks of life within Jubilee who are supporting Matiang'i, wants to go out and campaign for him, believe that we need another regime and we can remove Ruto.
Yep.
That is the most important thing. We need some people who have faith. Because you see, even within Jubilee, kuna watu ambao wako kule lakini wanapigia wengine duru debe kwingineko. I think it's not a crime, but it's not a decent thing. It doesn't reflect well on you. If you don't believe in the candidate that we have as Jubilee, walk over across the fence and support the other one, na usituachie hata harufu hata guo. Enda tu ukiwa mzima. And I tell you, that is the hell I've gone through. Even wakati usikia watu wakisema, Kioni anatukana Gachagua, it's because my mind was clear. And I did not want gray areas. I was clear as where I thought Jubilee wanted to go. Then I can tell you, even the management of Jubilee has been interfered with by individuals within the united opposition who didn't like my firmness on where I wanted the party to go, and my firmness on Matiang'i. And I'm hoping that Matiang'i is on board in knowing that we were fighting for his good cause. Now,
I mean, there is what has also been stated enough times that retired President Uhuru Kenyatta needs to stay away from politics. It is statements that started way immediately when the Kenya Kwanza Brigade formed the government. Even a member of United Opposition today, Rigathi Gachagua, also said that Uhuru Kenyatta needs to stay away from politics, else all the perks that comes with his office as a retired president will be taken away. It is a statement that continues to be hammered today, and one asks the question, Uhuru Kenyatta, as a member and a significant member of Jubilee, what's his role in deciding who is the flag bearer and even just charting the political future for the country? Does he have a voice?
He has a responsibility of charting the political future of the country by nurturing younger people into the leadership of this country. Something that is so clear in his mind. And when he talks about it, sometimes he gets a backlash, and I do not understand why. When you've been a president in a country, whichever country, and you have the respect that Uhuru has, he has the responsibility of modeling, encouraging young people into power. Until the other day, there was this president from Ghana. What was the name of that? I'm forgetting him, oh God. But I think he came from the army. And he was all over Africa giving lectures on how you can get into leadership. He transformed Ghana. How can I forget his name?
Jerry Rawlings.
Thank you. I sat when I was a young man to listen to him, not once, not twice, all the way from Ghana. Brought by Oslo, NDI, all these institutions that are here in this country. And they would bring him to speak to us as to how to learn how to become a leader. That's the work of Uhuru has. And he should not be stopped from doing it. It doesn't matter whether you are receiving state parks or not. That's a responsibility. And I believe that is what he would want to do. The quarrels we had in Jubilee delayed him into ushering himself into that kind of space. And when the other time I said that, yes, he has been wanting to hand over, another radio station took it up and wanted to make it look like I'm fighting Uhuru, my party leader. No, it's just that he also wants to ensure that he moves to the space that he really is going to help us as a whole unit. His role anywhere else, I mean, he has not shown any interest in playing politics in the country. But he has also allowed to ensure that the country does not go into pieces. But there are those people who are thinking that he should be sitting to tell the opposition what they should. It's not his business. If I were him, if you want to become the president of this republic, and you also want to become the president of this republic, I want to become and we cannot sit to agree on the direction we take as a country. Something is wrong.
Well, we'll take a break.
And it is not the responsibility of somebody outside to come and organize
what it is.
The leaders for tomorrow. It is their own responsibility. They want to be leaders. Leaders who cannot lead wants to be led. Something is wrong.
Let's take a break and then we come back and ask if saying that the current president must go is reason enough for people to want to be in the presidency. We'll come back. Jeremiah Kioni is the deputy party leader of the Jubilee Party. He's saying unequivocally this morning that no, this united opposition business is not in the boardroom. Let Kenyans decide, but let parties have leaders and let them state what their agenda is and put to bed this whole united opposition business, because according to Jeremiah, it's not working. That this united opposition business is not the business. But we're going off and asking that question. People have said they're not busy. Nobody's going to come and tell you, oh, we're going to deal with, well, the few people are saying we're going to deal with the economy. But folks who might be in this united opposition, as it were, are saying that, you know, what we need to do at the moment is remove what they are saying is the cause of all these problems, which is the president. Is that not enough an agenda for people to come together on, no matter who the leader will be?
I think and it is important that we allow Kenyans to move into that space, because what to define that person we want to remove William Ruto and his entire regime are the issues that Kenyans once dealt with.
Yeah.
And I really like the issue of what is the narrative that these presidential candidates have. Certainly, the narrative, one is that they need a person. I have said this. The joy about Kenya is that the joy about Kenya is that we now know it has money. Kenya kuna pesa. Kenya tuko na pesa. Na tuko na pesa ya kuleta maendeleo kwa Kenya, and to even support them in their social lives. So we are looking for that person who can now be able to manage those resources. And managing of those resources, of course, comes with understanding the issues that Kenyans have. For example, I would be interested to hear somebody talk about the mental health issue in this country, because it's a serious issue that is affecting every family in this country. Juzi tu karibu na pali tumetembea. There was a lady who had already managed to strangle one of her children.
Yeah.
And she was in the process of strangling the next one before they rescued. And the reason why is that baba anapendelea wale watoto walikuja na wao na apendi wale wamezaa na yeye. That's an issue of the mental issue. And it is across the board. Even this shooting of one another across the streets, it's something that we need to address. We have issues of unemployment in every home in this country. We have the issue of rehab. Almost every home has a child or a person who requires to be in the rehab one way or another. These are issues that must be addressed by the next team that comes in. It's also important to know that you need a person who can be all-inclusive. Because when we were not, or when we failed to change the architecture of our executive, it means that we still have one very powerful person who sits in a boardroom almost alone and others join that boardroom. And when that happens, you need a person who can be able to bring other people on board and consult and talk to everybody else, but also a person who is firm, not kuchikulegalega. And we need to be defined more by those issues as opposed to the sloganeering. One of the things that is that cuts the difference between me and Gachagua, because as ingine watu wanafikiria ni vita na hatuna, ni ile siasa tu. He believes in Kalonzo, I believe in Matiang'i. He believes in cousins, I believe in Kenyans. You know, actually the right family to talk about Kuso. Cousins are all over. And I believe that the issue of cousins is not a bad one, but you need to carry your neighbor who is not your cousin along with you. The country needs all of us to move together. He has a lot of emphasis on by-elections. I don't. By-elections to me in a country, I learned it from Kibaki and I saw it also from Uhuru. It's really a waste of resources if you spend more than what IBC wants you to do. All the people of that region are looking for is another leader, but it has no impact on the government of the day, nor does it have an impact on the opposition, and especially when the numbers in parliament are so far apart, or when parliament has already been taken over by the government of the day. So I wouldn't spend a lot of my energy and resources. It's not a litmus test. It was 2007 when we had 102, 103. When the parliament is a hung parliament of that nature, then a win or a loss means a lot. But when you have 20 people, 30 people difference, let it be. Akienda pandili igine haijarishi. When you have a person like William Ruto in State House who is able to take the whole of parliament with it, wachaneni na hiyo maneno. Let's concentrate on the issues that can help us change the regime going forward. Not to say that we are not keen on what is happening elsewhere, but we need to address those issues. We need to talk about education. We need to talk about health. We need to hear what are these people saying. Not even what they did, is what are they going to do to improve the health, improve the living standards of Kenyans, improve our security. Our security is not good at all. We are headed in some very bad ways. This goon thing, si mchezo, and these goons are going to grow in numbers for as long as we do not pay attention to employment.
So, Jeremiah, for
as long as we don't pay attention to our armed units. If you talk about the mental health before you ask your question, mental state within the disciplined forces is worse than outside, and that research was done, and it's a part of the government documents that we read on a daily basis.
So, do you remember what I'm hearing you say is that the conversations that you're hearing today is beyond just Ruto must go, is beyond just getting to presidency, that we must start having conversations on our agenda for the country moving forward, that even within political parties as we sit right now, Jubilee should be thinking about, apart from having our presidential candidate up there, we must scout for other leaders who will be voted within Jubilee, who will push this country forward. That if you're having MCAs who will be running for office, we want the best MCAs who will represent various counties at the county level to ensure that counties spur. That if it's members of parliament, that when they get to parliament, they will not be captured. There will be individuals who will oversee policy formulation that will change the country moving forward. If it's senators, women rep, overall conversations about individuals getting to office is what we must be talking about right now moving forward.
And I can't be able to say it in a better way, but that now is the crux of the matter, and that is why every political party must go. I talked about Kakoigo, where I had got to support an MC who wants to run on a Jubilee ticket. And I can tell you, when Uhuru told me to be the deputy party leader as not the SG, even the fact that some within the united opposition were very happy because they thought it is a less position where I cannot exercise my thought on people like Matiang'i, who now that I know they believe different, they can see differently. He told me to go to the grassroots. and handle the operations within the grassroots. And that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm saying. I'm now in Daragwa. Even as I come back here, next time I'll be coming from Daragwa. What is it that we are doing? Identifying readers. And it's not an extortion link, because some of these parties are really extortion links. The kind of money people pay to get a microphone to speak when a leader is there is hilarious. There is no Gen Z who has a chance there. And anybody wasting time there and calling himself a Gen Z or herself a Gen Z and think that you're going to get a chance, where are they going to get the 10 million shillings that are being coughed? They're just from school. They have never been employed. They have never gotten a contract. Nothing. But they have something that they can offer to this country. And I can tell you that is a kind of opportunity that we want to give within Jubilee Party. Because I have reasoned to 20-year-olds. The other day I was invited by Citizen Radio. Was it Radio? Yes, Radio. It wasn't TV. Radio. And I went with 3 of them. One 21-year-old, the other one 28-year-old, the other one 25 years. I said, just sit here. One of them want to be an MP Westras, the other one MCA. And if you sit and listen to these young people, they have ideas. They understand the problems. And we need to give them an opportunity. We cannot continue, asking for millions of shillings as a party when and then pretend that we are going to have a different kind of leadership. When Matiang'i said sometimes ago and said, "Mumechagua wash," and you are going to, it's happened. Today, I want to say it here. We are talking about goons in this country, but we have goons who are elected as members of parliament. So they have their colleagues in parliament. So when they organize, it's very easy for them to just call goons within minutes, because we have goons within parliament. Fine, is their constitutional right to be elected. But if we choose as a country to be led by goons, then we are actually going to get an economy of goonism, everything goonism, and we'll eventually end up with an education system that produces goons. I mean, if that's why I'm saying, let us take this to the people. Let the people decide who their president is going to be. And the other mistake, in fact, the other difference between me and Ligiji is that he believes in pointing people and saying, huyu ndio tutachagua hapa. Wengine wote hawana maana. And of course, that I don't do. Let people decide who their leader will be. Because I believe that in so doing, one is that you have allowed the constitution to play out among the people. 2, the people will own the process. And they will also give time to that process to bring change, because changes cannot be brought overnight. The damage that we are in cannot be rectified within a day. You need to move along with the leader, but that leader must be the leader you chose, a leader you trust, a person who is not going to steal. I believe that we have now a generation of people who are not just out to come and steal and feel good. We have people who would want to come and make a change in people's lives. The oversight that is there with Kenyans would not even allow some of the, unless you are really a goon who doesn't bother. Anitaiba upende, ile wale wanasema utadu. So I will be happy if Jubilee plays a part in that process. And I will really be happy if Matiang'i also plays a part in that process of bringing in a new team of people who can bring a change in this country. Of course, even for him to do that, he must have all of us on board. It's really a question of a teamwork, kila pahali. And I feel a little sad, and sometimes I get worked up, because when we were doing some of these things within Jubilee and people did not understand, and we ended up with a necessary hostile takeover, it has slowed us down. We lost a minimum of 6 months. And if we didn't slow down, Jubilee will be way above all the manenos that we are seeing.
What would have happened to put them way ahead?
Let me now say this before I finish. You see, I talked about United Opposition as an organizing, not organizing, a mobilizing unit. That role has been taken over by leader Mwananchi.
So United Opposition doesn't have a role anymore?
No, they have, but there's more excitement with leader Mwananchi.
Okay.
For sure, even when you're reporting. There's more excitement. I can actually see why even goons are being unleashed on them. They are now the ones that are exciting the country in terms of mobilizing. But in terms of organizing for how we take over power, political parties still have a role. Because even after being in leader Mwananchi, you go home to a political party. If there is no political party you are going home to, wewe pia ufikirie haraka, kwa sababu siasa ya Kenya haichezwi namna hiyo. Lazima ukibie nyumbani, na nyumbani ni kwa chama. Na hiyo ndio ilikuwa some of the people we are with in a united opposition were also the people who wanted to kill Jubilee because they were killing that nyumbani pali watu walikuwa nakibia. But I'm happy that I am being vindicated, and what I'm now doing at Daragwa Command Center, which we are calling Jubilee Daragwa Command Center, is now to do what I always wanted to do: bring up leaders, protect the party, and let the Kenyans decide who their presidential candidate is going to be. Now you will see things coming from Daragwa. We have received delegations, na wanaendelea kuja wengi.
Okay.
Next weekend we have people from Kajiado and Kisii, and Meru is coming. All of them, they're coming.
You obviously believe in your candidate, and obviously from what you've said is that we don't
from
need to,
day one.
You've said they don't need to be part of this business where everybody's not figuring out where they need to go. So what is the one thing that would set him apart from anybody else in terms?
And I like the fact that Muturi also believes in Kalonzo.
Yeah, you said that as well.
Yeah,
but in this case, what's the one thing that, according to you, Dr. Fred Matiang'i, will do differently for Kenya today? Because that still continues to be the cry, that you can all do these political shenanigans and do everything that needs to be done within those circles. But at the end of the day, you've got 50+ million people who are saying, you know what, we just need certain things to work right. What
I like
would that
him because
thing be?
one thing is I like him because he doesn't like the populist politics. Because we are dead on the populism agenda. He doesn't give a cahoot on populist politics. Kama kitu ni mzuri na inatakana ifanyike, itafanyika. Na atafanya. Again, I like him because when he has also, we have seen a person who can say something and he follows it through. There's something that people have played around with talking about him and Mabab. If I call Fred at 4 a.m. anachukua simu. I see him, there are times I'm on my phone at 2 a.m. and I also see here. And we start engaging at 2 a.m. Of course, during the day we become a little tired, but it is, you can actually see a person who is engaged with the things that he wants to do for the country on a 24-hour basis. And I think that is what we need. And it is not a question of hii kitu. I hope it doesn't show up in the government that we form next, where all that we see around you are your cousins and everything else because you campaign. And it's not a good thing either.
One would hope.
You know, we want everybody to be on board as a country. There is a track record that was set by Jubilee Party in terms of what needed to be done in all sectors. He has a very thorough understanding of that. He was part of it. It doesn't mean that he's just going to do what was being done, but he knew where we wanted to go and he should be able to take us even further.
All
it
right.
does not require a lot of introduction into the government system. When you talk about cabinet, he knows what is a cabinet, what are cabinet subcommittees, what is security, what security issues that needs to be handled in the government. When you talk about education, he was part of the CBC thing. You talk about health. It's not a question of coming and abolishing SHA, but it's a question of making it. It's just a name, making the systems work.
All right.
Don't start with another 104 billion shillings. No, we want these things to work.
Making systems work
He
with
gave
what
me
is
an
available.
example that impressed me on how they were able to go through votes. I'm trying to make it. They were told by Uhuru, can you go back to your ministries, each one of you, scrutinize the votes, see how much money you can save from any of the votes. We need to pay for examination fees in this country. He went and looked at the vote that was used to buy boots for the police, the army, and everybody else. And from that vote alone,
Got
he was
money to
able
pay
to
examiners.
save money that paid for the examination fees for that 1 year.
It's interesting to note that there's some examiners from
Yes.
last year who have not been paid, so you might want to get a word in on that.
And
Jeremiah
from that point,
Kioni
it tells you that there is anajua ile tunataka tufanye.
deputy
Lakini
party
lazima tuwe
leader.
na wengine, hatufukuzi mtu.
of the Jubilee Party. Jeremiah, thank you for being here with us this morning. It's clear
Asante sana.
what the message is. Asante sana. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.